Obviously, the right is freaking out about the ideological far left radical Kamala Harris, but that's not the only thing that they're freaking out about her being picked as the VP choice. There's also Harris, who she is, what her name is, where she comes from. They've got some issues with that too. So first, let's just show the screenshot. I'm not gonna show the video because it's way too long, but Tucker Carlson repeatedly mispronounces Kamala Harris's name on Fox News, is unrepentant when corrected. So to just catch you up, he keeps calling her Kamala over and over and over and over again. Bear in mind, she has been running for president at this point basically for a year and a half. She's been a national political figure for literally years. He doesn't know what her name is or how it's pronounced. When he's corrected, he gets mad and says, so what? So what if I mispronounced it by accident? Then he says that him being corrected means she's immune from criticism. If you want your name to be pronounced correctly, you're immune from criticism. And then 3 minutes later, he goes back to mispronouncing it.
Absolutely.
After being corrected multiple times.
And after saying, I accidentally mispronounced her name, what's the big deal? The big deal is we know it wasn't on accident, number one. Number two, after you've been corrected, you decide to continue doing so, whether it be for the reason that you want to keep doing it or just so you can make sure that you're not corrected. Because it digs to the heart of many of us as Americans to be corrected or to be told something we didn't know. The hardest phrase in the English language for Americans is, oh, my bad, or I was wrong. No, you can't say those two things or else you're gonna get like kicked out of the country. So I'm not sure which one of those things it was. If it was that he can't be corrected on air, therefore embarrassing himself, or if he just said, you know what, I'm gonna continue to feed my racist base by saying exactly what I've been saying and that I've been obviously corrected on. So he has to push this in some kind of way to make it a thing, and he flipped it. That is one thing he's good at. To flip it up to say, so you're saying I can't even criticize her now? Oh, come on. And then he filibustered and yelled further and got along down the conversation to act like that was the straw man he was fighting against.
Yeah, and by the way, like I love the right. Nothing bothers the right more than the fact that they can't criticize things. And they will tell you how much that bothers them while they spend the entirety of their shows criticizing those people. I can't criticize them, I'm gonna do it through the entire length. And then I'm gonna end by saying I'm not allowed to criticize them, and then I'm gonna do another show on it, and then say I can't criticize them, and do another show on it. No, you get to criticize whoever you want. Obviously, you're in the process of doing it. Nobody's saying you can't. Just saying, hey, maybe like pretend to have the base level of respect for someone that if you do accidentally mispronounce their name, when you are corrected, change how you pronounce it. That seems like what a rational person would do, but he can't do that and satisfy the whims of his audience because his audience doesn't want to have to mispronounce non-white names or doesn't want to have to pronounce non-white names correctly. They certainly don't want to be corrected on it. And they kind of like the idea that it doesn't matter. You or I, we deserve to have our name pronounced correctly, but some types of people don't. And it feels good to do it wrong, knowing it's wrong.
There's a history, man, I'm telling you, and we know this history, but there's this to disrespecting someone's identity, their person, who they are, what name they were given by their family, all that stuff. If you disrespect that, you're lowering what your belief is about who they really are as a human, their worth. Black folks' names got changed a lot in this country, just keeping it real, because they don't want to have to say those other names that give you the identity of who you are. Yes, I know she's not like, she's not actually, of course, this happened in slavery. Of course, she's not a direct slave or any of that type of stuff. But the thing is, if you disrespect someone's name, there's a history behind that. And if you flippantly just push it off to the side, that has the same energy involved. This is a name given to her by her family that she's proud of. And because you don't like her, you just get to purposely mispronounce her name and flippantly excuse her as a real human being. It's all a part of the same plan. You can attack someone to a higher degree when you have a lowered respect of their actual human worth. And this is just a part of that.
Exactly, and I don't expect everyone to know immediately how to pronounce someone's name. Like, how long did it take the country to figure out Buttigieg? It took a while, but once you but now you should probably know. And if you don't, and especially if you host a show and you're one of the biggest shows on TV for politics, but even if you don't, if you get corrected, change it. And if you don't, that says a lot more about you than the person trying to get you to pronounce it correctly, or about the person whose name you're mispronouncing. But that, of course, is the entire point because he's sending a signal to his audience that you don't have to respect these sorts of people.
You're better off just because people mess with Trump's name all the time and stuff, and they do it obviously. And when people say, "Oh yeah, that's funny," at least they're saying, "Yeah, I'm literally changing his name because I don't like the guy." He's acting like he has no idea. At least admit it. At least admit it and say, "Yeah, I have no respect for her Therefore, I'm changing her name because I don't like her policies. We know that. Trump is calling her phony Kamala. That's not her name, obviously, but obviously he's allowed to do it. So at least admit that you're out there just to try and change the name, just so you can make sure you lessen her as a viable person.
Yeah. Anyway, it's part of a. It's just like we're gonna have another election where it's like, I guess, so they couldn't attack Biden for some of the ways that they'd prefer to, misogyny and racism and stuff like that. But like, I have issues with Kamala Harris, policy issues. I'm worried about what she'll do if she gets into power in comparison to someone else that I would have chosen who would do different things. But the identity stuff is it's all that they want. It's to attack her based on that stuff.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.